Claude just dropped Skills 2.0, and it's a game changer for anyone working with Claude Cowork or Claude Code. With Skills 2.0, we now have built-in evals or testing, which allows anyone to build more reliable, better performing skills and automations way faster. So in this video, I'll show you why Skills 2.0 are a big deal and how they work, and I'll show you exactly how to use them to build better skills fast with plenty of examples. Now I'll show you a demo of Skills 2.0 in Claude Cowork, but it will work very similar in Claude Code if you use that. So what are these skills 2.0? Basically, Anthropic just updated their skill creator skill. You can see that it now has folders with eval viewer, agents that can analyze, compare, and grade, and scripts for benchmarking and report. Now you don't have to understand what's actually in there, but this basically allows us to run automatic tests on our skills in order to improve them faster. For example, here I ran a test on my YouTube to newsletter repurposing skill. It ran 5 test variations and automatically scored performance based on my criteria, like word count, M dashes, and if it included personal stories, and then automatically scored the performance of each of the tests. I can also check the outputs from the test or the eval here in this report, and based on the performance result and my feedback, which I can give here for all the different variations, it can optimize a skill far faster and drastically improve the way we build good skills. Now, although this is a great feature, it is actually really important to understand how to use this efficiently. Now, before showing you a full demo of how to use them and all the use cases for them, it's important to understand how they actually work and what kind of testing we can do. Now, if you're still unfamiliar with skills is basically a way we can automate any task or workflow by simply prompting Claude Code or Claude Cowork. It basically includes a skill MD, which is just a text file that instructs Claude what process to follow. It can also have additional information or context in a text format, a non-text format, and can even include code. And this is extremely powerful because, for example, me and my team are building out skills and automations for all our daily tasks across all our business departments. So we have skills for sales, marketing, operations, etc. If you want to use or customize some of our skills, you can also check out my AI community in the link in the description below, where we list them all out. We also have one-on-one unlimited tech help available and weekly AI workshops where we dive a lot deeper into these tools. Now, I recently did a full tutorial on how to build skills, which I highly recommend you check out if this is still new to you. I'll make sure to put in a link in the description below too. Now, why are these evals or built-in testing features such a big deal? Now, the main reason is because skills are really never finished, right? Rarely do you have a perfectly optimized skill at the first try. In fact, just like with software or any other type of engineering, iterating on skills after you've built a first version is actually the most important step to get to good skills. Most of my skills I had to iterate on multiple times, sometimes 5 to 10 times before they became functional and optimal. But before this new feature, it was hard to know what to adapt or what to iterate on to get a better output from your skill. And this is what the new skill update makes 10 times easier and more efficient. Now, before showing you some examples of how to do this efficiently, how do they actually work? Now, as I showed, they've basically just updated the existing skill creator skill to now include these evals, which basically just means testing. So if you've already created a skill, you can just build a skill by prompting it. And this will still work the same way with these new skills. But now, after you've created a skill, Claude will automatically ask you to test your skill. But instead of just running one test and you evaluating the output, it can run multiple tests at the same time and focus on testing specific things and give benchmarks or scores for them. For example, you can test on speed, token usage, output quality, tool call use, let's say copywriting style, but really anything you want to test it on. It will then give you that data in a nice structured document that I showed you for you to analyze. And based on the results, both good and bad, and your feedback, it can easily update and optimize the skill very fast. And if you do a few of these iteration loops, you can get to really good skills really fast. Now, besides this, there's another new thing we can do that can help you optimize the skills you build even more, which is through A/B tests. And in A/B tests, you're basically testing different versions of skills to see which one works best. You could also test your current skill against non-skills to see if it actually performs better than if you wouldn't have a skill at all. But Anthropic mostly recommends to do this when a new model is released, like let's say, for example, Opus 4.7 or 8, because your skill might become irrelevant when models become more powerful. So let me show you some examples of how to create these skills, test them efficiently, with both evals and A/B tests to get to good skills fast. Now, just show you a full process of building and testing a skill to get to good skills fast. Now, here you can see that I built my YouTube to newsletter repurposing skill from scratch. I did this using a prompt format that I covered in my last video on skill building to get to a good first version of the skill. Now, this is not hard science, but it's a good framework to go through to make sure you include all best practices when creating a new skill. Now, if you want a breakdown of the entire framework, you can also check out my last video, but I'll go through it very quickly here too. Now, even though we can prompt it really quick to create a skill, actually thinking about it and putting some effort in is really important, because the more accurate and precise you are, both when creating the skill and testing the skill, the more efficient this process and the better your skill is going to be. So in this case, I'd said create a skill according to the following guidelines. Then I gave it a description of what the name of the skill should be and how the skill should be triggered. So in this case, the name of the skill should be YouTube to newsletter. It should be triggered anytime a user mentions that he wants to repurpose a YouTube video into a newsletter. Then I gave it the main goal for the skill. In this case, a skill that repurposes a YouTube video into a full, ready to publish newsletter issue written in my voice and style. Then I covered the connectors that it has to use in this skill. In this skill, you need to use the YouTube transcript MCP from Apify to extract the video transcript. Also, I specified the reference files it has to include in the skill. In this case, these are the reference files that I find get my copywriting skills to way better outputs. Like, for example, the what we do, which is basically a description of my business, my ICP, my voice personality, a newsletter strategy doc, a writing framework, and newsletter examples, which is one of the most important for copywriting skills. So these skills actually follow your tone of voice. And then I laid out the entire process it has to follow to get to that final outcome. So in this case, ask the user for the YouTube video they want to repurpose, extract the video transcript using Apify, then read the reference files, analyze the transcript, and suggest 5 newsletter angles. In this process, I also define where I want to have human in the loop. For example, here, present the suggestions using the QA box, and where I want the output to be. In this case, save the newsletter as a Word document. And lastly, one section I like to include in these skill prompts is the progressive updates. Whenever a user specifies specifically not to do something anymore, it should automatically update the rule section in the skill MD. And this is basically how your skill can become self-learning, because anytime you can give it quick feedback, it can automatically update the skill, so it won't do that next time. Now, with this prompt and these reference files, it started creating the skill, as you can see here. Now, of course, this was already possible before the update of the skills, but now you see Claude asked me, want me to run some test cases to make sure it performs well, or are you happy to try it out directly? So in this case, I said, yes, okay, please run some tests. And now it started doing an eval. So you can see it says, let me set up test use cases and run them. I'll create 3 realistic test prompts with different YouTube videos. It then basically spins up 3 different sub-agents to run these tests in parallel. And then it started evaluating the outputs based on the criteria, as you can see here. Now, this is the point why we need to actually understand how to use this efficiently, because in this case, I didn't specify what the testing criteria should be or what to optimize for. So Claude basically came up with the criteria itself, probably with some information from my reference file. So in this case, it defined these criteria, right? A PS section with a soft pitch to my AI community, a signature sign off with Ben, a word count range, and if it actually produced a docs file. Now, and of course, this can be useful to sort of test if your skill actually is functioning or working. But if you actually want to optimize it, we want to be much more precise on what to optimize for and the criteria to test on. And I'll show you an example of that in a second. But as a result here, we get, of course, that report where we can basically see the full execution of each of the tests. So we can see the prompt here that was used in this specific test, the steps that were completed. So in this case, video collection, transcript extraction, reference file analysis. So basically checked if it actually followed the step-by-step process instructed in the skill. Now in this case, it did it well. And then it also gives us the full output of the newsletter. We can also see the formal grades of the criteria it tests for here. In this case, 0 failed. And we can give feedback on each of the specific test results here. And if we click on next here, we can go through all the different variations of tests and give feedback. And if we want to optimize the skill, we can basically just tell Claude to either do it based on the results of the test he run or combine it together with our feedback. So if you add feedback to each of the tests, you can just click copy here and add that then to the chat, and it will have more context on how to optimize this. Now, again, giving a basic prompt like I did, like saying, run some tests. May be useful, again, to check if it's actually functional. But if you actually want to optimize it for specific criteria, we have to be much more specific. So what I recommend you at least include when you prompt Claude to run an eval or a test is to define what you're going to optimize this test for. And it's really important to choose one here. Don't try to optimize 5 or 6 different things at the same time because there will be too many variables. So you want to test one thing at a time, optimize one thing at a time. And also you want to define the criteria for the evals. And optionally, you can define how the test should be done. So for example, in my case, I said, let's run a new test. And we're going to optimize the test for matching Ben's copywriting style and voice as closely as possible. Don't use the current test. It should be a new test. Now, the criteria for the evals are how closely does it follow Ben's example references? Second, does it have M dashes? Third, the length of the newsletter. And fourth, does it include personal stories or references from Ben's personal background reference file? And then I defined how the test should be done because, of course, I don't want this to run on 5 different YouTube videos. I want to see different outputs based on the same YouTube video. So we're going to use only one YouTube video to test 5 different variations. And you can also define how many test variations you want the eval or the test to run. So in this case, I specified 5. Then it ran the test again, and in this case, it ran the test based on my criteria. So it ran it on a style match, and you can see 2 out of 5 failed, word count, and personal stories. And you can see 1 out of 5 failed. And you can see this is already a much more useful test result. And based on these test results and evals, I can tell Claude to optimize for not failing on the personal stories and the style match. And it will already do a pretty good job in optimizing my skill. But of course, again, I can go into the review and give it extra feedback. Just copy it, add it here, and it can update the skill to make a better version. Now, lastly, let me show you a quick example of how and when to use A/B tests, where we actually test different versions of skills against each other. Now, this is generally what you want to do only when you already have a functioning and sort of good performing skill. And these A/B tests basically allow you to optimize functions of skills even more. Now, the way we do it is by just telling Claude to run an A/B test on the skill. For example, here I said, use the creator skill to run an A/B test on the YouTube to newsletter skill so that we optimize the skill for speed. It can't affect the step-by-step process. The process still has to be there and the reference files still have to be read. It has to use this YouTube link for the test. Now, of course, you can use these A/B tests to optimize for speed, token usage, output quality, again, really anything you can imagine. But in my opinion, it's much more focused on really trying to get from an already good skill to a great skill or a more efficient skill. What it does in this case is it basically spins up a second skill, a version B, that in this case is a leaner skill. It cuts away some of the context that it thinks is unnecessary to make it run faster. But it basically comes up with this idea of this separate version or this type B version of a skill itself. Also, it doesn't have to be just one. You can also tell it to spin up 6 different versions of skills. Then it ran the tests and the results are actually that my original skill used 93,000 tokens and took 204 seconds. And the optimized new version only took 77,000 tokens and was a lot faster with 160 seconds. But what you can see is that it failed at transcription extraction and the word count was too short. And then at these A/B tests, we also have in the report a benchmark tab here where we can compare the outputs and see how the two skills performed against each other. I can say in this case, it calls it without skill, but this basically means the original skill. And of course, it was a lot faster, but it failed in the transcription and the word count. Claude then also gives you a recommendation on what to do based on the results. So in this case, the speed optimization are solid and worth keeping. The 2 failures are likely due to the transcript tool behaving differently for each agent, which ran the different tests, right? Not the skill changes themselves. A rerun would confirm this. I actually later reran it and it actually worked. I didn't see a significant difference in the outputs. So I updated the skill and now it's a far faster skill at a lower token usage. Now again, you can of course use these A/B tests for many more things. For example, I also did an A/B test for context engineering because I know that for these copywriting skills and automations, one of the most important impacts on the output quality is which balance of reference files or context files that you give it. So for example, you can also run an A/B test to define if a skill with or without a specific reference file is more efficient or not. So in this case, for example, I said use the skill creator skill which is important to mention. To do an A/B test on the YouTube newsletter skill, I want to run one skill that uses all the 8 reference files and one skill that uses all of them, but not the voice personality reference files. I want to assess if the voice personality file actually improves the copy or harms it. Use this YouTube link for all the tests. And then again, in this case, it created one new skill without the voice personality reference file, ran the test on the same YouTube link, and give me an output. And in this case, of course, it's a very subjective output. So I'd really need to read both of these newsletters to make sure that one is better than the other, or if there's really a difference, and then maybe optimize the skill accordingly. Now, these reference files that I use for copywriting styles actually come out of a lot of experimentation and testing that I've done before last year through Prometheus, which is basically a context engineering or prompt engineering IDE. So if you're building any copywriting skills, I highly recommend implementing those context files that I mentioned to get a good match of your tone of voice and style. Again, you can find all of these reference files and adapt them easily by just going to my AI community or AI Accelerator. I have all these reference files, all the skills we're building out, including the one I showed you. We have one-on-one unlimited live tech help and multiple weekly Q&As and workshops where we dive a lot deeper into these tools. So if that's interesting to you, definitely check it out. We also have blueprints on how to get your first customers in AI if you're interested in building your own business. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you got any value out of it, I highly appreciate a like and a subscribe. It really does help me. And if you want to learn more about Claude skills, plugins, and Claude Cowork, you can also check out the video here above.